Hafide Guam, welcome to another episode of In the Mix. I'm Jonagan Charfris. Thanks so much for tuning in. A great show lined up for you this evening. Coming up, we make our way over to Dededo and check out Guam Bakery, who's been serving up delicious pastries for 40 years. A little bit later, we have Asha Robles with a recap of Summer of Sounds, and we close out the show with KOAM Connections, where we get a sneak peek of a new comedy heading to NBC TV. But first things first, we all love a good success story. Even more when it's someone from Guam. Take, for example, founder and creative director of Shoyoroll, Vince Quitugua. It was an idea that started in his garage and has grown into something so much more. Here's part one of our interview. Vince Quitugua says that the idea for Shoyoroll came about sometime during his senior year in high school. It was a dream that was heavily influenced by the likes of Roman Dela Cruz and the masterminds behind the brand Fokai, and his passion for surfing.
With time, it started to really start to formulate around like 2000, 2001. We'd start making t-shirts and giving them to friends and asking friends to wear them so we can be the only ones at the fiesta with our own cool t-shirt, you know, that we thought was like, that was really what it was all about. We just wanted to wear a t-shirt that nobody had, that you couldn't buy at Lotus or Primo, and you weren't all wearing the same t-shirts, and it was just kind of like your crew of buddies wearing it, you know. So that was, I think, with your own personal taste on it, you know. So I think that's how the inception of the brand really started, you know.
The founder and creative director of the Shoyoroll brand moved off island to California for college sometime between 1999 and 2000. And according to Quitugua, it was a place that was considered the mecca of surfing and skating.
You have all the big companies like Billabong, Quicksilver, Ruka, you know, Backbend, Stussy, everybody's there, so your level has to be very high, you know. So we were almost on a really amateur level compared to what big companies were doing in the States, you know. So for us, it was still supported by friends and buddies from over here, but as far as it being popular or really getting any legs in the States or for a bigger market or audience, it was really tough.
And although he had the support of family and friends, the next 7 to 8 years proved difficult. His fuel to continue, the love and passion for the brand. Patience and hard work would start to pay off as Quitugua started to notice a turnaround.
In the beginning, like we were stuck. We were kind of like, what are we? You know, I think once we figured out our identity, we kind of really started to we were able to focus.
The idea of creating gis came about because of Bear's involvement with jiu-jitsu, and that at the time, there weren't that many gi manufacturers.
I really just wanted to make my own personal cool gi. I would never had any real passion to be like, okay, we want to make like the coolest gis in the world. That was never the mission in the very beginning. It was kind of like, I want to make a gi that has like reggae taping, that has Rasta stripes inside, and I want to put a reggae line in it, and I want to like combine the best things of what was in the industry at the time into this one special gi for me.
He said initially it didn't do too well, but after a couple more releases, people started to take notice.
We kept on changing it every release. We kept on changing just the small detail here and there, and then I think once we started to do that, we started to get some traction. Then at least the people in the jiu-jitsu industry were kind of vibing it.
Keeping to his principles, like the t-shirts and stickers he once made in his garage with friends, he kept the batches small, and he explains why.
It was like, we want to make sure the guy at the fiesta is not going to be the same guy that's going to have that shirt, and you're going to be cool because you have that shirt, you know. And then we took that same principle into like making gis. We're like, okay, we'll make 100 gis, and once we sell through those 100 gis, we're going to go on to our next one. And we just kept that model going. Like, I didn't go to business school like back then and in the beginning, or go to like formal marketing school or any of that stuff. You kind of just learn as you go along. It's not really strategy. It really just comes from like a principle of like being able to go somewhere and wear something that no one else, or the chances of somebody else wearing it is going to be slim, you know. So like it comes from that rooted level of, I guess in the business world they call it supply and demand, but on the local level, we were just like, you just want to wear a shirt at the fiesta that nobody else has.
And even though he never attended business school, Quitugua admits he has a collector's mentality and has intently studied branding and the importance of it. It's one of the reasons why Shoyoroll gis are such a hot commodity.
You got like a piece of fried chicken and you got another piece of fried chicken and you're like, this is fried chicken A, and this is like fried chicken from like this crazy Louisiana place that's had it for 50 years, and there was a backstory and a history to it, and there was some kind of depth to it, probably like 90% of the time the person's going to choose that if they could get that information on those two pieces, even if they were identically the same. You know, it's just, I think it's just the mind, it's the branding and the marketing and the story that goes into a product, you know, and just as long as the quality and the service of the product is good, then everything else should fall in line.
Ultimately, Shoyoroll's mission is simple.
Our goal is to make the best ghee in the industry in the world, and keep on continuing to try and evolve that, you know, and whatever we're interested in, try and push those projects as well. So.
And make sure to tune in next week for part 2 of the interview as we dive more into just how popular Shoyoroll is. Don't go anywhere, because when we return, we head on over to Guam Bakery. You're watching In the Mix.